Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Show. Let's get right down to business. Trending on Twitter right now is hashtag refund Warren. And, I'm not going to. I'm late recording this morning because I wanted to see exactly how I wanted to approach. I needed to see exactly how I was going to approach last night's news. Let me fill you in so that you understand, for those of you who are not in tune 24 hours a day with what's happening. Yesterday, the accusations went even further against Bernie Sanders from the Warren camp. Yesterday, the Warren camp, or the day before, the Warren camp said that Bernie had his volunteers go out and smear Elizabeth Warren with a smear that wasn't really a smear. Never mind the fact that this was not from the top of the volunteer script that we talked about yesterday. That was not from the campaign. That did not come from Bernie Sanders. Most certainly did not come from the top staff. Did not come from the volunteer coordinators. It actually came from a volunteer, him or herself, themselves. And that, we get it. That's how you want to play politics. That's how they're going to play politics. You take something that is from a volunteer and you lay it at the feet of the candidate. Cool. Got you. That wasn't enough. Yesterday, that kind of sunk really quickly because all of the evidence came out showing that this was, in fact, something that the volunteer coordinators tried to fight against and made sure that they got rid of. And never mind the fact that the substance of the so-called attack that we discussed yesterday, that ultimately went nowhere, the substance of it was futile and fruitless and disingenuous. Okay, so since that attack did not work yesterday, enter in Warren and her camp with another attack saying that at a dinner 2 years ago, 2018, Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren that he did not believe a woman could win. This was leaked, I believe, multiple outlets. Primarily, I saw it on CNN, and all of the pundits got involved and said, yeah, we believe that this is something Bernie would say, without any confirmation of this whatsoever. And I'm just trying to bring you up to speed before I say what I have to say. Everyone on CNN, including associate Bakari Sellers, all of them had, we believe Bernie said this, that he doesn't believe a woman can win. Now, I have plenty of clips of Bernie Sanders saying back in the 80s, before anyone else ever believed that a woman can win, Bernie Sanders said that he believes that a woman could and should be president. But okay, I'm not here to defend the honor of anybody. And because I'm not even here to defend the honor of Bernie Sanders, goddamn well, I'm not going to sit here and defend the honor of somebody like Elizabeth Warren. And her team specifically. Her too. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to get to her, but her team. This is decidedly a different take than yesterday. Right. But let me finish the story. So we waited. Liz let of course, they'll never admit it. But of course, this was leaked, quote unquote, leaked by the Warren team. And I'm going to tell you how poor their political instincts are, because ultimately this has backfired, and it's going to backfire in an even more spectacular way, which is why from this point on, knuckle up. No mercy. So I apologize to all of the members of my audience that support Elizabeth Warren. I have no need to attack her personally, and I'll show you why in a second. So as we waited yesterday for Elizabeth Warren to, this was supposedly said to you at a dinner, right? So you can confirm or deny this. Elizabeth Warren waited hours and led all the commentary and all the punditry. It was actually a masterstroke, to be quite honest with you. If I just give it to you from a political Machiavellian perspective, it was a masterstroke. She let it fester. She let it fester. She let it fester. And then she came out with this statement. She said, quote, Bernie and I met for more than 2 hours in December of 2018 to discuss the 2020 election. Our past work together and share goals, beating Donald Trump, taking back our government from the wealthy and well-connected, blah, 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 and building on an economy that works for everyone. Among the topics that came up was what would happen if the Democrats nominated a female candidate. I thought a woman could win. He disagreed. I have no interest in discussing this private meeting any further because Bernie and I have far more in common than our differences on punditry. I am in this race to talk about what's broken and how we fix it. I'm not going to read the rest. And even in the story, it's reported that the context of the conversation, which we'll get to, the context is that he said because of sexism, he doesn't think a woman can win in 2020. Speaking specifically because of the sexism that Hillary Clinton faced, the exact thing that everyone said. Everyone said Hillary Clinton faced sexism. And so you guys convinced Bernie, well, sexism is going to make it hard for a woman to win. That was somewhere in between Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama. But I digress. So here's my take. Let's get to it. And I don't know if there's anything else to talk about this morning. So this may be a 5-minute episode. We'll see. I see refund Warren is trending number one. Hang on. Let's see. I just saw a new one. Two-Faced. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the point. I'm going to record this again because I just need to say it again. Take 2. Warren's team. Let me just start by saying again, politics and political consultants are evil. I don't care Bernie Sanders has some evil motherfuckers working for him right now too. Across the board. And some of the most Machiavellian, cutthroat, will use anything to hurt you. They will destroy everything about you. They will take anything that you say and use it against you, use it out of context. And that's why Donald Trump won. That's why Donald Trump won, because he was far more vicious than any consultant could have ever been. And I could tell you, I'm telling you, this entire machine, it's not run based on candidates. I'm not giving Elizabeth Warren any way out on this whatsoever because she's the person who could have told the truth. And with context, right? With context and nuance. The game that is most masterfully played is the game of we will take away all the nuance from anything that you say, and we will demand that you give us nuance for everything that we say. And if you don't give us the nuance, then we're going to pretend as though you're playing dirty and that you're not being genuine and that you're being disingenuous. And everyone is going to cry, oh, look at how disingenuous of an actor you are. But then when it's your turn and you have a conversation with Elizabeth Warren and you say that, I don't know, because of sexism, I just don't know if a woman can win, or whatever the context, right? But that being the nuance offered in the conversation, it's going to be completely stripped away without any regard, no regard, zero regard, because that is the standard operating procedure. That is the baseline in politics. And this is one of the frustrations that I have with Bernie Sanders, because he's been around this long enough to know that he couldn't even trust Elizabeth Warren to have a nuanced conversation. God forbid he actually just said this outright, right? But that would be counter to the fact in 2016 he encouraged Elizabeth Warren to run. See, this is nothing more. This is just the third wave. This is the third wave of attack against Bernie Sanders, 2016. And this, honestly, actually, let's take a step back. This is the third wave of the establishment trying to make sure that nobody gets a hold of this system except for one of the two parties that are the same party, just with a 1% difference. Like within the margin of error, the Republicans are the same as the Democrats. And you have operatives all through the system who have a vested interest in making sure that not another machine comes through there, that there's nothing that comes through. And see, they totally co-opted the Obama machine within the first day when they appointed Timothy Geithner. I said, oh crap. Okay. So here we are. All the revolution that he was talking about, all the change and hope that he was talking about really isn't going to happen because we are appointing the same people. Right. And even more so, the ability to get out there and say that we're going to change things with zero intention of doing so. This political realm is one of the most treacherous, Machiavellian worlds that you would ever experience. And those people are inundating every single campaign. Some of them might beef with Bernie Sanders. is the Machiavellianness of the inner workings of his campaign. Right? That's one of the reasons that I have not come out publicly and say I'm going to support him. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like, all these bastards are evil. So I might as well just support the team that is evil, trying to do the right thing. Trying to get us Medicare for all, trying to cancel student debt, trying to change the paradigm that we're living under, and actually presenting a force that can beat Donald Trump. But instead, where we are now is that we have a full onslaught attack against Bernie Sanders, not because of him personally, not because of his alleged conversation with Elizabeth Warren, which she's going to have to talk about tonight, no matter how much she says she's not going to talk about this again publicly, like this is so hurtful for her. You goddamn better believe they're going to be this is all they're going to talk about for the first 10 minutes of the debate. And we're going to see whether or not she has the poker face sufficient enough to go up against Donald Trump. And this doesn't benefit anyone but the consultants that are supporting Joe Biden. This hurts Joe Biden because we're going to see him exposed. This is going to give the votes that he needs. This is going to this might just be what they need to get Joe Biden the nomination and to get rid of this revolution, right? That's what they're striking. And this is why the political instincts of Team Warren, really, y'all, it's pretty shitty. Because this doesn't help you. This backfires spectacularly. This backfires in a spectacular fashion because it further divides anyone who actually would give Elizabeth Warren a second look. Especially from you guys are playing with a movement of millions of people who are super voters at this point. When I'm not making up a phrase. Super voters are people who are going to participate at every election, at every level. And they're going to be committed to this process no matter what. Bernie Sanders has a legion of super voters. And those super voters, a huge percentage of them would have supported Elizabeth Warren if for some reason Bernie Sanders was suddenly out of the race. Their second pick was Elizabeth Warren. God forbid that heart attack sidelined Bernie Sanders even more and he wasn't able to finish his race. The second pick would have been Elizabeth Warren. But your political instincts is telling you that you need to weaken Bernie Sanders when what ultimately happens is you weaken Bernie Sanders, yes, but you also weaken Elizabeth Warren. And who do you give it to? Joe Biden. I'm all over the place. We'll bring it into focus after this.
Go to www.patreon.com/the BPD show and support the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Holy crap. We've got a lot to party about today, so let me get right down to it. Special welcome to Nina Barrows. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. Special thank you to Patrick Shanahan for increasing your pledge by $1. That's all we're asking for every patron to increase their pledge by $1. Isaac Ellison, thank you for increasing your pledge all the way to $15 a month, man. Listen, thank you so much for that. Special thank you to Sean McGuire for becoming a new patron. Special thank you to Ben Neal for becoming a patron. Very special thank you to Bill Clinton, who just edited their pledge to $4.20. I like it. Very special thank you to Terrell Felter for becoming a patron. Very special thank you to Adam Tongate for becoming a patron. Very special thank you to Eric and Toko, there we go, for becoming a patron. Rodney, thank you for increasing your pledge by $1. I appreciate that. Jeremy Good, thank you for increasing your pledge. Also, let me just double check to make sure that you did it by, you tripled your, no, it's early. You doubled your pledge. Thank you so much to everyone. One of our busiest patrons today. Thank you for increasing your pledges by $1. That's all we're asking for. Some of you are doubling it, and I appreciate that. But we're just trying to pay for the equipment that we purchased that I have installed. And one day this week, once I get my schedule down pat, we're going to start a live stream. Just because, we were going to wait to 500 patrons, but I went ahead and bought the equipment anyway because I'm like, F it, let's just do the damn thing. Okay, let's get back to the show. So again, I want to stress that Team Warren, this is a bad look because what you have done is entirely alienated, because you can't tell these people about Bernie Sanders. You can't tell them when all the evidence points to the contrary, right? Here's Bernie Sanders' problem. And this is what they continuously exploit. This is what frustrates me about Bernie Sanders. I've talked about it over and over and over again, but I'm going to tell you what Bernie Sanders' problem is. Bernie Sanders, his old age is best demonstrated in his stubbornness, but also his inability to change the way he talks. It is both simultaneously his biggest strength, but also his biggest weakness. And this is what consultants are exploiting. Let me tell you, not a single consultant in this game actually cares about you. I just want to start there. From Pete Buttigieg's team all the way to Bernie Sanders' team, I don't think a single consultant in this game actually cares about you. Not at the top tier, because the money is too thick. The money is too rich. We're talking about people who are getting $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month. You know, and I've seen people turn pretty evil over way less than that. So I don't think a single person in this game, I'm just going to tell it to call it like it is. I don't think a single person in this game. I think some candidates might actually care about you, but they get surrounded by people who just will rip your guts out, politically speaking. And Bernie Sanders' problem is that he has a weakness that is his strength, right? He says what he's been saying for the last 40 years, and he's not adjusting to the lay of the land, making himself politically vulnerable. He has been making himself politically vulnerable since 2016. It is quite frustrating as a person who supports Bernie Sanders, generally speaking. But some attacks are just a little more cruel. Some attacks are the most unkindest of all. And some attacks are only generated by the people who are almost a caricature of a Disney villain twiddling their mustache for the purposes of financial gain. I could tell you on a small level as well as a big level that we should have had a full expectation that this was going to be as maniacal as the turn has taken. But that's fine. You know, that's fine. Sometimes you learn the hard way. Too many times we learn the hard way. But what they fail to realize is that literally, here's the deal. I'm not even going to be philosophical about this. Joe Biden is going to lose to Donald Trump. Pete Buttigieg is going to lose to Donald Trump. Elizabeth Warren is going to lose to Donald Trump. We'll see for sure tonight, because if she can't hold the poker face, this is the test of Elizabeth Warren, folks. If she cannot hold her poker face tonight, then it's 100% guaranteed that she's going to lose to to Donald Trump. They don't realize who they're getting into the ring with, right? But you know who doesn't care? And I keep coming back to the consultant class, because honestly, if you want to get money out of politics, you know who's going to fight you the hardest? Bernie Sanders consultants, Elizabeth Warren consultants, obviously Joe Biden consultants, all the people on the Democratic side of the aisle who are making $20,000 to $200,000 a month, depending on the size of the race. You think they want to get money out of politics? And so those are the people who are behind this attack. And Elizabeth Warren, if she did not have enough integrity to draw the line and say, no, I'm not doing that, then she sure as hell better have the poker face tonight to be able to stand up against Bernie Sanders as he clears the air. See, they thought this was a good move, but ultimately this is a move that backfires. Now, it hurts Bernie for sure, but it's going to hurt Elizabeth Warren more. It's going to hurt her more. And this should have been somebody on the team somewhere should have been like, nope, I don't think this is a good idea. But this is their Hail Mary. This is their Hail Mary just before Iowa. And honestly, it only helps Joe Biden. I have to keep repeating that. And you want to play this game, right? You want to play the game of playing dirty? See, here's the thing. We don't have to say anything untrue to play dirty against your candidates. That's the most hilarious thing, because we could just call a spade a spade. Joe Biden doesn't have the mental faculties sufficient to run an entire campaign. He does not. He simply does not. It's not because he's old, because Bernie Sanders is old, Donald Trump is old, Elizabeth Warren is old. It's not that he's old. It's just that his brain power has diminished severely, and he doesn't have the capability of going toe to toe with anybody, let alone Donald Trump, who's fueled by nothing but pure hatred and McDonald's. So you know Donald Trump is going to be sharp. He's going to eat him a Big Mac and a Diet Coke right before the debate, and he's going to come out there and rip Joe Biden to shreds. And Joe Biden's just going to be sitting there, I don't know. You think we're going to feel sorry for Joe Biden when he gets on an international stage and embarrasses us with whatever? I don't care. I don't care if it's a natural speech impediment or do you think this political landscape is going to care? You think the people on the right are going to care that he has now all of a sudden in his career, he has a speech impediment that we should feel sorry for? You think they're going to care about that? Absolutely not. They're going to exploit that to no end, and it's going to work. You know why? Because that's the lay of the land. You want this Machiavellian style politics. You want to play that. And as a result, it's going to prop up somebody, not Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren doesn't win because of this attack. Joe Biden does. And you guys are going to run this man out there who doesn't have the mental faculties enough to put together a coherent sentence. And you're going to put him out there, elder abuse, for him to get mollywopped over and over again by an old man who's just as old as Joe Biden, who has the luxury of having nothing but pure hatred running through his veins, keeping him alive. You want to play that game? Fine, go ahead. In fact, I'll vote for Joe Biden. But there's no amount of my support that I can give. I will not be responsible for him losing, because there's no amount of support that I can give that will overcome the fact that he can't put together a damn coherent sentence in the twilight years of his life. This man should be sitting somewhere on a beach just sipping coconut juice and enjoying the rest of his twilight years. And you guys are out here running Weekend with Bernie. You're running a man who basically has to be propped up and carried around and shown which way the microphone is. You guys are really playing with fire. You're playing with fire. You're playing with the future of this country simply because it's a political game to you and you could cash in. And then the other half of you're trying to protect your territory. This is nothing but territory and cash. And what's it going to do? And then Elizabeth Warren, their imbecilic team, you guys are propping this up because you thought last night was going to help you. You actually thought last night was going to help you? The only way it could help you, if I could just give you a fine note here, is if Elizabeth Warren is at the top of her effing game, the best game that she's at. She has to have the poke. I've never seen her with a single poker face. She's going to have the best poker face of her life tonight. She has to. She's going to have to put on an Oscar-worthy performance. And even then, even with that, I still think this is going to backfire on her spectacularly. Yeah. And for what it's worth, not that I'm important whatsoever in this, but I want you to understand something. Right? So if you think Twitter or this independent media space has any impact whatsoever, which you obviously do, because people are constantly lecturing the left on Twitter from Barack Obama down. So obviously you think it matters. Then you should understand what last night's move did, right? It moved people who were less circumspect than me, less comfortable with dealing with the grays of ambiguity, who could simultaneously hold the opinion of supporting not Joe Biden, but Bernie Sanders, and not wanting to attack our colleagues over there on Team Warren. There's a whole lot of people who just don't give a shit about any of that and were just foaming at the mouth in terms of their support for Bernie Sanders. And the reason I describe it like that is because you have pushed someone like me who has a platform and can make a lot of noise, you pushed me into a corner of, if that's the game you want to play, we can play it even better than you could ever play it. Now, I'm just one person. What the hell do you think happened to the millions of other people? The millions of other people. Even if it's just 500,000 people who were playing nice just because they wanted to be kind, who have no regard outside of the simple request that we've been making for everybody. Let's chill. Let's not have a replay of 2016. Let's not have a replay of 2016. You know, a lot of people took our advice and they were like, okay, we're going to do our best, Ben. We're going to do our best and not scorch the earth. And here now you've gotten people like me ready to scorch the earth. What do you think is going to happen to all the other people who were just waiting? If you think Twitter matters, obviously you do, because that's where, all the articles come from. Oh, the radical left, the left is too far left. Oh, the Barack Obama comes in and says, like, we don't have to listen to all these leftist people on Twitter. You know, so obviously you think Twitter matters. And obviously you think social media in general matters. Don't you know how many people support Bernie Sanders? They're going to rip you guys a new asshole today and the next day and in perpetuity because of the game that you're playing here. Period. Dot. That's it. And you know what? I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to say not one thing. I'm not going to say a single thing. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the Schadenfreude. Because you know what? To a certain extent, you know, this is what you all get. This is what you earned. You earned this. And I'm not even speaking to Elizabeth Warren's camp anymore. I'm talking about the Democratic establishment. You were so desperate to hold on to power that you were so desperate to hold on a very specific type of power, the type of power that insulates capital, the type of power that insulates big business, the type of power that insulates all of the power brokers in this world at the expense of the working class and the middle class. That's the very specific type of power that you were so fixated on holding on to, such that you were willing to destroy your best chance to beat Donald Trump. Part of it is because you cannot expect people to just go along with what you've been doing for the last 40 goddamn years. You can't expect people to just go along and support somebody who they know is going to vote and advocate for legislation that is against their best economic interest. You cannot simultaneously point to Republican working class voters and say, why are they voting against their best interests? And then think that people are going to line up behind somebody like Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg when they know full damn well that's going to be voting against their own economic best interests. You want us to be sheep to the slaughter. And you were so fixated on holding on to your particular type of power that you didn't even want to seize the opportunity, like some people I've seen have been opportunistic who have shifted gears and now in the camp of Bernie Sanders. But you didn't even want to do that. What you said is, no, we're going to crush anyone who, okay, so fine. Guess what? I'll leave it there for today. And you just think about it. You just sit there and think about it. Do you think people, oh, hey, we haven't even talked about the black vote. We haven't even talked about the black vote and the magnificent divide that is getting ready to fracture the black vote. Because yes, you're going to have a lot of old black people who support Joe Biden. And you're going to have a lot of young black people who say, I was good. I was going to come out and vote for Bernie Sanders, but I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden. And then you're going to have a whole nother swath of black people, somewhere between, mark my word, between 8 and 15%. I know that's a wide margin, but somewhere between 8 and 15% of black people who are going to support Donald Trump. You know why? Because they are as tired of this system, and Donald Trump to them, right or wrong, they see Donald Trump as somebody who's shaking up this system. And you the consultant over there, and all of your infinite wisdom and all of your pie charts that you still just recycled from the 1980s. You haven't really updated your strategy since the Clinton administration. You and all of your infinite wisdom are thinking that you could simply get people to come to the polls because they're afraid of Donald Trump. You don't understand what 4 years would do to people. People are now, okay, I'm just going to leave it there. Fill in the blanks for yourself. Team Warren, you better tell your homegirl tonight that she better have the best poker face she has ever had in her life, because if she doesn't, that's going to probably be the end for her. Because if she wavers whatsoever on this thing, oh man, people will see that she will waver against Donald Trump, and there's no way she's going to win. And you know who's that's going to help? Old Man Joe.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.